We don't want to shut down the government, but if Democrats refuse to just pass this clean continuing resolution, that's exactly what's going to happen, and I think the Democrats are going to bear the responsibility for it.
As Vice President J.D. Vance putting the ball squarely in the Democrats' court as Congress faces a midnight deadline on Wednesday to fund the government or shut down. With the clock ticking, leaders from both parties, they're going to head to the White House for a meeting with President Trump later today, but they seem to be digging in their heels. Watch.
Meeting is a first step, but only a first step. We need a serious negotiation.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage, and for that matter, by extension, the American people.
My colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle have behaved not as a separate and co-equal branch of government and a check and balance on an out-of-control executive branch.
There is nothing partisan about this continuing resolution, nothing. We didn't add a single partisan priority or policy rider at all. We're operating completely in good faith to give more time.
Former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy is here. You've been through many of these shutdown fights. I find them a little ridiculous, a little boring, and a little dumb, frankly, if I'm being honest. And I just thought, surely this is not going to happen again, but here we are. Who has the upper hand here?
Well, the Republicans do, because you got to give credit to Speaker Johnson and the Republicans of the House. They passed a continuing resolution, which to your listeners mean it just keeps government as it's moving, because September 30th is the end of the year for government. The appropriation bills won't be done for later. There's nothing that will change, but it takes 60 votes in the Senate. This all comes down to Schumer, and the only reasons he's doing this is because he can't lead his own base. Remember when we came to this so many months ago, he said he was going to fight it, then he folded, and he had a new book come out, and he couldn't even go on a book tour because he's afraid of AOC. And remember, AOC is a member of Congress, but she raises more money than any other member of Congress. She's from New York. He's afraid she'll run against him. And so all he's doing is holding the entire country hostage because he cannot stand up and do the right thing. If I was President Trump, I would only say this inside the meeting. I will negotiate with you after you keep the government open, because they are the only ones who are determining this. They are holding it hostage, like Thune says, and they can have a lot of people laid off because he's afraid politically.
Join me in a little trip down memory lane, which I think you will probably remember. This is from 2018.
We do not want to shut down the government because you can't get your way.
The last time you shut it down, you got killed.
Let me say something, Mr. President.
North Dakota
This
and
is the
India.
most unfortunate thing. We came in here in good faith, and we're entering into this kind of a discussion in the public view.
But it's not bad, Nancy.
No,
it's called transparency.
I know, it's not transparency when we're not stipulating to a set of facts.
So I remember you remember that. And the other thing that could happen is not only did the White House threaten to basically lay off a bunch of people if the government shuts down, because if they're not essential, then they're not essential. So I think that's a little leverage. But also, Kirsten Gillibrand, a Democrat from New York, is planning a Napa retreat in your home state of California. This is Political Playbook had this for the DSCC on October 13th and 14th. Why does that matter? Because they could be, the Senate Democrats, the Congressional Committee, could be at this fancy, wonderful wine retreat on a shutdown day, if that were to happen.
Exactly. They would have to cancel that. I mean, but this is all coming down to Schumer. Maybe he plans to open it up right before that so he can raise the money. This is purely a Schumer shutdown. Look, I've been on the other side of this. I remember in 2013, what happens when one party wins the White House for the second term, the party out of power, the base gets very upset. And you walk yourself into something that is not smart. It costs more money. You give the power to the executive branch. President Trump will be even stronger. Again, if I was President Trump, the only thing I would do in this situation is says, I will negotiate with you after you keep the government open, because nothing changes. It's at the end of the year when anything changes. This is simply Schumer. The Democrats are craving a new leader. When you look to Hakeem and Schumer, they are the weakest Democrats I've ever had in leadership. They don't know how to get out of this problem they created themselves in because they only look to themselves. They're not true leaders. And what you're watching is other Democrats rising up around them because they won't lead.
All right, Kevin McCarthy, you get to watch from the sidelines, as we will as well, and observe and get your analysis as it goes forward. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.